What is wrong with me? I am not feminine. I could never be that feminine. These are things that I hear, but you have to realize that when you are referring to feminine, you are probably referring to traditional femininity. Hello lovely feminine women, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, for continuing to support the channel, for liking the videos that you like, and for leaving your lovely comments as always. If you are new to the channel, if this video intrigues you, you happen to stumble upon my face, I would love it if you would join our femininity revolution, this community of women on the internet who support growing in our femininity and developing our homemaking skills by hitting that red subscribe button down below. My name is Cynthia. Some of you know me as a former Miss Earth Canada. I am also a millennial housewife, and I really enjoy classy and elegant living. And if you're more interested in my everyday to-day happenings, you can follow me on all of my social media handles. I have it linked down below. You can also go to the About section of my YouTube channel to find out more of those details. Today I have a little bit of a fun idea for you, introducing something new that I don't think has been talked about that much. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. We are going to discuss feminine archetypes. The reason why I want to introduce this concept to you is because I really don't think that there is only one type of feminine woman, and when you come to my channel, I want you to feel like you still belong here, even if you don't look and you don't act and you don't live your life the way that I do. If you have been a long-time subscriber to my channel, you know that I made a video about what is femininity. I will link it above in the cards as well as down below. And in that video, I talked about how femininity and personality are two different things. The way in which your femininity manifests itself won't necessarily always be similar to another woman. It could. Many of you who watch my channel are very similar to me, but there are countless other women that are not. This doesn't mean that the character traits of femininity, for example, nurturing, doesn't remain consistent throughout all of these archetypes. What this means is that there is a difference of personality in which certain qualities of femininity might be more expressed in certain ways in comparison to others. This is going to make more sense when I introduce to you 4 feminine archetypes today, where I'm going to list some of the qualities of each one, some of the ways in which they apply their femininity, and I'm also going to put the caveat of a few cons in there, because there are negative sides to every personality type that we kind of have to keep in check. There are so many more archetypes out there, and if you know any or you want to add to the conversation, you can always list them down below. And I would also love to perhaps make a part 2 if that is something that interests you, and you can let me know by hitting the like button. I'm also very curious to know what our audience is made of, so if you can actually list your archetype down below, or which one you have a combination of. I actually find myself to be 80% one archetype and 20% the other. So you might even be a combination of all 4, and you might actually be a new one entirely. I am rambling on and on about this, but the point is, any feedback that you have, leave it down below and we will chat. The first archetype that we have, which is the most common that we see in mainstream media as well as on femininity channels, and that is the traditional feminine archetype. This woman is more so whimsical, and she really knows how to harness her childlike energy as well as charm. She might adopt a more romantic feminine style, and the kind of like fairy and princess energy and cottagecore lifestyle might appeal to her. A very positive quality of this feminine woman is that she is able to live in feminine flow. She is able to be responsive to her environment, and she is really able to live in the moment. Living in feminine flow allows you to actually express your feminine energy with ease. You are not so easily burdened by anxiety and outside pressures. This woman might also be very creative. She might have an artistic side to her, and she might be well able to beautify herself as well as her environment. She has a type of angelic nature to herself, and she actually likes to be more so girly. There's another YouTuber on this wonderful platform. I have mentioned her before. her name is Ina. She made an excellent video on the difference between feminine and girliness and how girliness can be attached to femininity, but they aren't necessarily causal. This is kind of a similar concept to archetypes and how the traditional feminine archetype doesn't mean that if you are not it, you are not feminine. It just means that there are a large number of women who like to actually embody traditional femininity as a form of expression. Now, cons to this archetype where she might regress in growing her femininity could be through immaturity. I talked kind of a little bit about this in my princess to queen energy. I still think you could be a traditional feminine archetype woman, yet embody more queen energy. You just want to be careful not to slip back into childishness. I talked about childlikeness, which the traditional feminine woman does express so very easily, but childishness is actually going to hold her back and keep her in laziness as well as an avoidance to take on responsibility. The reason why I emphasize this is because you want to make sure that you are able to think of other people and have a sense of maturity that causes for you to be able to be attuned to the needs of others, because nurturing other people is a character trait that we want to develop. Next up, we have the classic feminine archetype, and as you can tell by my smile, this is my 80% one. This is the one that I adopt more often and I feel gravitated towards. These are kind of like your traditional classic housewife archetypes, for example. Doesn't necessarily mean that she is going to be a housewife. This could be various people in the media, for example, your Kate Middletons, as well as I'm thinking of the show Suits. There is somebody on that show that would embody. I'm going to put a picture of that person here. This archetype is really able to connect with other people through her ability to kind of bring groups together. She might be known as a fabulous hostess, a community organizer. She might kind of be like the mom of the group who is always planning one step ahead. This allows for her to build deep relationships with other people because she is not afraid to go out there and do the work that it takes to be implicated in their lives. She's also able to be the picture of, for example, a brand. What I mean by this is she kind of has a sense of elegance to her. She is very careful with what she says. She doesn't want to offend other people, and she has the ability to present herself as more refined. Cons to this archetype, and if you are this woman, you want to be careful of these pitfalls, include the following. For example, being too structured in your everyday life. This archetype really does feel attracted to planning, but you can over-plan your life to the degree that you will embody more masculine energy and you will step out of feminine flow. It is a balancing act. I myself have also struggled with being too rigid. Some people have even said on my videos that sometimes I come off a little bit stuck up, but I am just going to tell you that that is my classic energy portraying itself a little bit too much. When we focus on elegance, we kind of lose a little element of our authenticity. And when we lose authenticity, we aren't as able to bond with other people to the degree that we would like to. And if we are striving to be that figure that brings other people together, if we are living in this rigid way, trying to be, for example, too perfect, then we will not be able to express our feminine energy in bringing those people together in deep relationship. Next up, we have the glamorous one, the Marilyn Monroes of the world, if Marilyn Monroe in her actress state was a real person, because apparently she was a little bit different in real life than we saw her in the media. So think about the media version of her. This could also be known as the diva, but not the diva in the self-absorbed way. This feminine archetype has such a big advantage in being able to use her sensuality to express her femininity. She also has the ability to just convey warmth to other people, kind of like an ASMR sense, if that doesn't sound too weird, but I think you understand what I am saying. There are not many women who are able to actually master this archetype, and when you come into contact with the glamorous archetype of femininity, you definitely remember this woman. She's also very attuned to beautifying herself back to the aspect of sensuality. This woman will probably always smell very nice, and she might have some sort of like shimmery something on her body that makes her different different from other people. For example, big statement jewelry, we might not understand how this woman is able to pull it off, but the way in which she moves, how she walks, she's very in tune with her senses, so whatever she wears, she can pull it off. Cons to this woman and pitfalls that she needs to be careful of is feeling threatened by other women, because like I said, this archetype is very unique. Not that many women embody this archetype. So for example, when another woman comes into her life that is of a similar archetype, she might feel threatened by her because she might not have had the experience of actually being able to know somebody who is very similar to her. Also, because she has a sort of wit to her where she's able to attract male attention easily, she has to be careful not to fall into the trap of using men for ulterior motives, because the man who gets with this woman is going to feel a lifetime of joy, if I can put it that way. But she has to be careful not to use her energy to manipulate him into doing things, because he's going to become resentful and it's going to destroy the relationship. Lastly, we have the free spirit, and there are many subcategories of archetypes to this general one, so I'm going to try to do my best to summarize it. I would characterize this type of feminine woman as the comments I get often where many of you tell me that you just do not feel feminine enough. What is wrong with me? I am not feminine. I could never be that feminine. These are things that I hear, but you have to realize that when you are referring to feminine, you are probably referring to traditional femininity. The free-spirited feminine woman can be very feminine in her own right. For example, this is the woman who is not shy to kind of like get dirty with her hands and grow a garden. She is also adventurous. She might take a camping trip or a hike, and these things can be very feminine if you are in tune to sensuality. Back to the concept of perhaps she is a plant lover. This is a very good way to activate feminine energy because you are nurturing something, you are bringing it to life. She might also be very sporty, and sporty can be feminine if you are doing it for the enjoyment of the activity. That can also be feminine in the way that you are actually taking care of your body. And also tied to that, this feminine archetype might be the woman that is not afraid to try new things. For example, new diets. She might be exploring new, I don't know, like regimes of whatever thing it could be. She's very intellectually curious, and that comes back to nurturing your body, nurturing your spirit, nurturing your mind. These are all very feminine practices. Cons to this archetype, pitfalls to this archetype, would be that she does need a little bit more structure in her life. She needs a little bit more masculine energy to provide the framework for her femininity to grow. What I mean by that is that she is able to also get into feminine flow easily like the traditional feminine woman, but she might not be able to know her limits of when to stop. This could cause for her to be a little bit more lazy. And if you do lack structure, this can also breed chaos. Chaos can cause mental anguish, and this is why we might kind of see the free-spirited, artsy kind of types who are prone to feeling very down on yourself and really questioning your existence. So this is why this archetype might benefit more so from using planners and having goals for the month and revisiting those goals. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So I recognize that this was a brief overview of 4 feminine archetypes, and we could really go more in depth, provide so much more detail, do more archetypes, and if that is perhaps something that you are interested in having me explore, you can hit the like button. And if you just liked this video generally, you can also hit the like button. You can leave me a comment down below. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I really want to know what your archetype is. I think I forgot to mention the 80-20 for mine. And side note, I do think that you can be a blend of multiple archetypes. And also, do not fret if you did not find your archetype in this video. This does not mean that you are less of a feminine woman. There are still character traits that we all must develop as feminine women that is not specific to any type of archetype. And back to what I was saying, I am 80% classic and 20% traditional. I love you all, lovely feminine women. You are the best. I will see you in our next video. I'm sending you so much love. Bye-bye.